Good day, everyone. We are Group 8 of Class YY12, and today we're going to discuss cooperation and competition as drivers of science and technology for case study number 2. So, for our statement of the problem, we have iOS versus Android. Over the course of time, the development of phones became rapid to the point that every now and then a new phone is aesthetic design and higher specs than the previous ones. The most common smartphones are the iOS and the Android. The competition between the two is a massive to the point that they release new phones at the same time to compete with each other. Android and iOS are two common words that everyone knows because of the gadgets, a rivalry that always competes for new and better technological advancement. The battle between the two always pushes to the limit of both parties to make better and innovative phones for everyone. Due to Android and iPhones being popular to the point that everyone almost have their own devices, the rift between the two parties is always intense since most of the innovations they release are similar to each other, which makes the users debate which is better and who made the best phones. However, we are in the point that every technological advancement is being minutely perfected, perfected to increase the quality and performance of technology.
Over the last few years, smartphones has been witnessing a familiar battle on a year-on-year basis. Apple versus Android is a classic tug of war of the tech giants, each vying for a leading market share and supremacy. This study will help intensify the curiosity of students in making decisions for purchasing mobile and computer gadgets, whether it is in terms of demographics, user interface, faculties offered, applications, or privacy terms. This will engage online consumers in helping them select the correct option between iOS and Android development, specifically for new app development idea or new startup venture.
Now, for our case analysis, there are similarities and discrepancies between Android phones and iPhones. Every time they introduce a new device, the development of each phone is truly creative and unique. Now, the rivalry between the two reveals how they do not want to be left out in the consumer's improvement of their game. Let's start with the new Samsung S20 Ultra and iPhone 12 Pro Max. With the new development from Samsung and Apple, they are all released almost on the same day. They try to compete with the customer on which commodity they are. However, the competition was really tough. Both Apple and Samsung filed a lawsuit to each other for patent infringement. The top brands that are competing for the top position are Apple and Samsung. It is more probable that individuals respond to one that makes the other superior to the other. Both Apple and Samsung's product specifications are very close to the point that people suggest that the other is a copy of the other. The rivalry between the two, however, won't stop because a lot of individuals support their offering. Now, what we see here is the operating system market share for August of 2019. It shows here that Android is leading with 40.39% of total shares, with Windows at a close second at 35.01%, whereas at the very bottom is Linux with 0.79% of the total market share. So here's some additional information about the operating market shares of 2019. For Windows, it has a desktop/laptop market share of 39.22%, making it the most popular desktop OS. However, Windows Phone's market share fell to the measly 0.1% in 2017. As for Android, 85% of smartphones globally run on it. For macOS Mojave, it has a worldwide market share of 42.52% among Mac users. For iOS, it has a 55.39% of market share, and as for Linux, its current desktop share is 1.74 to 2.18%. For the last points of our case analysis, under market share, even though Android occupies 80% of the world's mobile app market, some of the most likely revenue generating nations like the US and Australia remain controlled by Apple. So if your market belongs to Western countries, accept the help of iPhone app designers. However, if the world is your target, go with Android developers. As for application user, the selection of application platforms goes beyond geographical boundaries. There's quite a range of functions that separate Android statistics from iOS populations. iOS users usually get a lot higher earnings, come with greater education levels, become more familiar with the app, and eventually get willing to spend a lot more on the app. Android users, on the other hand, come with a share of their iconic characteristics. They probably fall within the 25 to 45 age group and are much more borrowing conscious, tend to be late technology fans, and are generally more impatient than Apple users. Now, the last point of discussion is under accessibility and design. The preferred option of companies, iOS versus Android, the answer is different on both the Android and iOS platforms. Google Material Design has a more material impact on usability, and mobile app developers feel that when it comes to processing mobile apps.
Now, for the advantages and weaknesses of our two main leading OS brands. For Android, its advantages are it is more significant in the market, it has higher extended app downloads, faster and less restrictive publication process, higher earnings from in-app ads. However, its weaknesses contain its higher and more challenging uh, ways of designing the apps due to fragmentation. It is more expensive, and Android apps get less revenue on the average compared to iOS apps. And because of this, uh, it tends to lead to more potential bugs.
For the advantages and weaknesses of iOS, the advantages are more comfortable, faster, and competitive building process. So the iOS has a smoother interface, which allows the user to do stuff smooth and nicely. Brings more revenue on the average, since iOS is quite expensive. So I it brings more revenue to the people. So apps have fewer bugs since apps are really strict to be published, and apps should have monthly updates, so it will pose no threat in the future update of the iOS. So the weaknesses are iOS has double fewer users. This means that if you own a iOS device, you can only have one account. Unlike Android, you can make multiple accounts as long as you have uh, emails to support the account. More challenging to publish an app. So unlike the Play Store, Apple Apple has a strict and more tight in publishing apps. So it is hard to publish an app if you don't follow their terms and agreement. So you will have to purchase Mac and iPhone or iPad apps. Brings less income from in-app ads. So unlike Android, which ads are constant to your application, iOS has less in-app ads, which makes it more uh, more productive to the user. For the conclusion, Apple and Samsung dominate the world of electronics to the point that they are really famous to everyone. Brands that tells the social status of the owner. To be able to acquire them is a privilege, especially the new one, since they have the new innovation that both companies enhance for the people. So it really boils down to the customer preference, and there are several variation factors that contribute to making decisions because not all customers use mobile phones and computers the same way. Some could be for school works, leisures, or games. Someday, a new challenger will appear to have their own innovations and advancement for the sake of humanity's progress. The competition for the top spot will be tougher, that all companies will be more creative to the phones that they will create, and in the near future, much advanced phones will be made to suit what we need in our daily lives.